Safety, the emergency exit is located towards the southwest of this hall. In case of fire or earthquake, security personnel shall escort you to the assembly area located in front of the building. For your convenience, the men's and ladies' rooms are located outside this hall towards the southeast. The medical room is located near the escalator. Likewise, medical personnel are stationed outside this hall should you need assistance. Thank you and have a good day.
Pwede na, pwede na.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Excellencies, heads of delegations, distinguished delegates, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to call this first high-level policy dialogue on food security and blue economy to order. This meeting is jointly hosted by the Philippines Department of Agriculture and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. I, Secretary Proceso J.L. Calab, the Department of Agriculture, will co-chair this meeting with my esteemed colleague, Secretary Ramon J. Paje of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. The Honorable Franklin M. Drilon, President of the Senate of the Philippines, and most illustrious son of this great city of Iloilo, the Honorable Ramon J. Paje, Philippine Department of Environment and Natural Resources Secretary, the Honorable Doris Magsaysay-Ho, Chairperson of APECH, Your Excellencies and heads of delegations of member economies, the APECH Secretariat, our partners from private business sectors in APECH, leaders and representatives of farmers and fishers, distinguished delegates, colleagues, friends, guests, good morning. It is with great honor that I welcome all of you to Philippines, most loyal and noble city of Iloilo, where the splendid past is married with emerging attractions and amazing developments of the present. This fast-growing city is paving the way to create a more conducive environment for business, which we are hopeful will spur continuous economic growth, not just for the city, but for the rest of the Western Visayas and the Philippines. And today, we wish to take advantage of these exciting developments in the city and the Ilonggo brand of hospitality to hold the APEC high-level policy dialogue on food security and blue economy, where we will craft and advance policies relevant in building our economies and a more progressive APEC community. This forum, I believe, is one of the most significant APEC meetings, as this seeks to address primary concerns most relevant to our people, such as hunger, general health and well-being. Food is a basic need. As one community, we ought to put up our strength and ideas together to ensure that there will always be safe and nutritious food on the plates of our citizens. Furthermore, if there is one thing APEC member economies have in common, that is the vast Pacific Ocean, where we get our fish and other fishery products. Sharing the same resources entails sharing the responsibility of protecting and conserving it. not only for our economies today, but also for the future generations. APEC economies have great dependence on fisheries and aquatic resources. In fact, the consumption of fishery products in APEC region is 65% higher than the world average. Moreover, APEC economies represents 9 of the top 10 fish producers in the world. It is indeed a big challenge for us to come up with the responsive and feasible plans and recommendations that will sustainably deal with ensuring the sustainability of economic benefits we get from our seas. I have full confidence that our common aspirations is an economy where no citizens will fear a day without food. However, it is truly a challenge to talk about food security and sustainable supply chain if our marine ecosystem are under threat of degradation caused by several factors, including illegal, unreported, and unregulated or IUU fishing, and changing global climate patterns, among others. Our proposed plan of actions covers three priorities that are geared toward achieving food security in the APEC community. First, we intend to make our oceans, coastal resources, and ecosystems more resilient and the aquaculture industry more sustainable, which are all possible by advancing sustainable management and conservation measures. Second, we work together to reduce food loss and waste, improving the quality, quantity, safety, and value of fish and fish products to ensure food security and sustainable livelihoods for our people, especially those living in fishing communities. And finally, we ought to promote agribusiness and blue economy, increasing food security and inclusive growth through market development and open and fair trade for the integration with small fishers and fish farmers into the global food chains. The message that I would like to leave with you this morning is that a healthy marine environment would mean a healthy APEC community and a sustainable livelihood for our peoples. It is our hope that any policy we will develop in this meeting will always be rooted in the protecting of our resources in which our economies are built and will thrive. And with that, I thank everyone for honoring us with your participation and contributions. Your presence represents your interest and serious commitment to make the APEC region food secure. Congratulations to all of us, and I wish everyone a productive meeting ahead. Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. Excellencies, head of delegations, distinguished delegates, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources, Ramon Paje, and invite him to deliver his message of welcome. Secretary Paje, please.
Philippine Senate President Franklin M. Drilon, Secretary Prosi Alcala, APECH Chair Doris Magsaysay-Ho, Excellencies, distinguished delegates and guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am deeply honored to welcome you all to the city of Iloilo, the city of love. And I am privileged to join you in this high-level policy dialogue on food security and blue economy. The city of Iloilo has a rich history of culture and trade with many APEC economies. In the olden times, this city was an important trade route for neighboring economies such as China, Indonesia, and Malaysia. During the Spanish period, Iloilo was a primary port for the export of sugar to China and the Spanish territories across the Pacific. Our meeting today is highly significant. It is an opportunity to discuss concrete and feasible actions to advance sustainable management and conservation of our coastal ecosystems and habitats. It will also give us the chance to push forward improved biodiversity for higher fishery productivity and better ecological services. We shall focus on one of the 4 priority themes of the host economy, building sustainable and resilient communities. This will lead us to the three other priorities, namely, 1, enhancement of regional economic agenda, 2, fostering small, medium enterprises participation in regional and global markets, and 3, supporting and investing in human resources. We believe that these initiatives will contribute to making the theme of APEC Philippines 2015, Building Inclusive Economies, Building a Better World, a reality. We envision a regional cooperation to narrow the gap in economic development of our economies while sustaining growth with equity. APEC, as we all know today, comprises of economies of varying levels of development. Thus, there is a need for us to cooperate and address this wide economic gap. The marine resources in the Asia-Pacific region are vital in achieving food security. This region accounts for 2/3 of the world's capture fishery production and 80% of the world's aquaculture production. To sustain and improve the productivity of our oceans, we need to enhance the biodiversity of coastal and marine ecosystems. Healthy ecosystems support higher fishery production and provide better ecological services such as regulation of climate and disaster risk reduction. Hence, if we have healthy marine and coastal ecosystems, we can develop our brand of blue economy. This is an approach to advance sustainable management and conservation of ocean and coastal resources and ecosystems in order to foster economic growth. As your host for this meeting, we humbly offer a plan of action which we encourage each of the APEC economies to implement. The plan of action consists of 3 priorities, each with a set of actions building on existing APEC commitments. These 3 priorities are 1, resilient oceans, coastal resources and ecosystems and sustainable aquaculture, 2, fish loss reduction, and 3, agribusiness and blue economy. The plan of action has undergone several revisions, taking into consideration the valuable comments and suggestions from different member economies. I am hopeful that the plan of action of the APEC high-level policy dialogue on food security and blue economy will be adopted at the end of this meeting. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates and guests, allow me to thank you from the bottom of my heart for honoring us with your presence here in the city of Iloilo. I am confident that we shall have a fruitful dialogue ahead of us. Thank you, and again, good morning. Let me now ask the Chair of APEC Business Advisory Council, Honorable Doris Magsaysay Ho, to deliver her message.
Thank you, Chair. Secretary Drilon, Senator Frank Drilon, excuse me, sir. Secretary Alcala, Secretary Pahe, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to be back in Iloilo, the home of great food, especially cooked from the bounty of the land and the sea surrounding this beautiful province and city. Just last week, the senior disaster management officials met and the SME ministerial meetings were held in this very room, the agenda of which are highly relevant to food security, inclusive development, and its connection to environmental sustainability. We are here, both the public and private sectors, with a shared mission to ensure a future APEC regional economy secure with access to food for our peoples. Over the last decade, we have witnessed the most dramatic decline in poverty levels. The Millennium Development Goal of reducing global poverty by 50% between 1990 and 2015 was realized 5 years ahead of target. Notwithstanding great strides in global economic growth and the rapid reduction of poverty, Asia remains to be home to more than 60% of the world's hungry. The Asian Development Bank's report on food security in Asia and the Pacific cited that, quote, 1 in every 8 people goes to bed hungry at night, yet there is sufficient food to feed the world, unquote. It underscores that food security is much more than raising food production. Quote, it is also about reducing distortions in global food markets and ensuring equitable distribution, particularly to food deficit economies and peoples, unquote. The FAO reports that feeding 9 billion people is estimated to require about 72% more food by 2015. Asia and the Pacific accounts for about 60% of the global population. Initiatives toward the attainment of food security are numerous, and APEC is among the platforms that have made great efforts in this area. APEC helps promote more free and open trade that can help bring food security to the estimated 800 million people around the world that remain chronically undernourished. Free and open trade has compelled economies, businesses, farmers to be competitive and efficient. It offers opportunities for market access. But free and open trade, however, means that our economies, farmers, must be innovative and identify their unique selling propositions to seek ways to embrace global values and standards so they can become eligible to be part of the larger global value chain. The following year, as early as 1998, the APEC Business Advisory Council, or ABAC, proposed the establishment of the APEC Food System, or AFS, as a comprehensive approach to action in the food sector. The following year, APEC ministers agreed that the overriding objective in building the AFS would be to efficiently link together food production, food processing, and consumption to meet the food needs of our people as an essential part of achieving sustainable growth, equitable development, and stability in the APEC region. APEC leaders adopted ABAC's recommendations that called for efforts to address rural infrastructure development, spreading technological advances in food production and processing, and promoting trade in food products. 16 years after ABAC's recommendations were adopted, we remain faced by the same issues. Food supply chains across the region remain frustrated by poor infrastructure. Lack or absence of financing and incentives continue to hound micro, small, and medium enterprises, effectively preventing them from participating in supply chains. Non-tariff barriers continue to abound, and the need to develop predictable, evidence-based food safety standards remains very pronounced. Today, bigger and more complex issues have also emerged. Growing consolidation of ownership of food value chains is leading to intense competition between global and regional supply chains, threatening the viability of small, medium enterprises. This also means too much power in the hands of few players and few economies. Choke points also begin to develop in critical areas, including food, water, choke points, affecting global capacity to grow enough food to sustain a growing global population. Food security is indeed a complex problem that requires deeper level of strategic dialogue within APEC and with governments. ABAC welcomed the Policy Partnership on Food Security, or PPFS, in 2011 and remains hopeful that this will be a mechanism to bring together the public and private sectors around a set of concrete, achievable outcomes to achieve long-term, durable food security. We likewise welcome the roadmap towards 2020 produced by PPFS. It is crucial, however, that we build on this in ways that APEC's actions remain responsive to food security concerns facing the region. We're therefore pleased with the opportunity extended by the Philippine Chair for ABAC to present proposals for strengthening private sector leadership and input into this process. We are grateful for the Chair's open engagement with ABAC, to the co-chair of PPFS, Tony Noel, a member of the APEC New Zealand, who's sitting right here. APEC needs to further deepen the level of strategic engagement and dialogue with the private sector to improve the understanding of the economic and commercial context for food, to address supply chain and connectivity and integrity, and to promote the participation of SMEs. To support work in generating private sector inputs and views to the discussion on food security issues, APEC established a parallel Asia-Pacific Food Industry Forum. This forum provides a means for the private sector to gather and coordinate its views for advocacy, both to PPFS and to APEC economic leaders via APEC. And we thank to the dedicated efforts of Tony Noel, a successful inaugural meeting of the Asia-Pacific Food Industry Forum was held in Singapore in May 2015, prior to the PPFS meeting in APECHigh, and just last week, again, to prepare for this meeting today. Industry participants in the Food Industry Forum are conscious that recent developments in food trade and markets pose risks for achieving durable food security in the region. APEC is prepared to continue to support the PPFS through the rich views that we hope to collect through the Food Industry Forum. The private sector needs to be part of the solution for food security, working in partnership with governments. We hope you will find value in the contributions of the forum towards enriching the agenda and expanding the policy discussions of APEC. Finally, the Food Security and Blue Economy Action Plan, which the meeting hopes to produce, would hopefully provide a long-term strategy to address food security issues in the region in tandem with the APEC food system. In finalizing this plan, we hope you would also consider the need to improve the investment climate for agribusiness in the region. There are distortions on the land markets and issues that impede financial services delivery to micro, small, and medium enterprises. We need to act on these. In closing, I wish to underscore the importance of ensuring the sustainability of food systems and the importance of meeting growing food demand without sacrificing the resources of future generations. Greater efficiency is needed in food production and delivery. Agricultural trade and general trade policy should promote food security through a fair and open trading system. On the sidelines of the SME ministerial meeting last week, APEC had the opportunity to dialogue with SME ministers to discuss ways to ensure that large companies realize the important roles that MSMEs can play in their global value chains. We also discussed the important role that the technology-driven innovation economy will be vital to ensure that we achieve the food needed for future generations. APEC is a powerful platform to build trust and to promote regional cooperation on one of the most compelling issues of our time. We in the private sector are committed to working with you in finding lasting solutions to the region's food security issues. Thank you very much, Chair.
Excellencies, to deliver the opening message, the beloved son of Iloilo City, the President of the Philippine Senate, Honorable Franklin M. Drilon.
Secretary Proceso J. Alcala, Secretary Ramon Paje, Mrs. Doris Magsaysay-Ho, the Chair of the APEC Business Advisory Council, Ambassador Maria Angelina Santa Catalina, APEC ministers, heads of delegations, excellencies, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good morning to all of you. It is a great honor and privilege to join you this morning. May I extend my warm welcome to all of you and wish you all a memorable and meaningful stay in our city. This occasion, I understand, has many firsts. This is the first time that my city is hosting an APEC ministerial meeting. And this is the first time that the Blue Economy agenda is being highlighted in an APEC meeting. And finally, this is the first time that an international event is being hosted by the city in this newly opened Iloilo Convention Center, known locally as the ICON, or the Iloilo Convention Center. So having made that welcome, let me once more express my deep appreciation for inviting me to as part of the session this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the Asia-Pacific region's rapid economic expansion over the years has been attributed to its rich natural environment and diverse economies. The region is home to more than half of the world's population. However, it is also home to millions of people living on less than $1 a day. Today, the region is confronting the colossal challenge of climate change that threatens food security. In his recent trip to the United States, Pope Francis called for urgent action on climate change. Climate change, Pope Francis said, is a problem which can no longer be left to a future generation. The Asia-Pacific region is not a stranger to the cyclical bouts of El Niño and La Niña. Rising temperatures, severe weather disturbances impact negatively on agriculture productivity. Moreover, governments are confronting two other challenges to food security. One, food loss and wastage at different phases in the supply chain, and second, illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. Pushing for blue economy is more of an imperative than a choice. The region is blessed with rich natural resources and marine resources. It accounts for 2/3 of the world's capture fish production and 80% of the world's aquaculture production. The per capita supply of fish is 65% higher than the world average. The region consumes 70% of the world's fish products. In poor economies, fish provides a significant portion of animal protein requirement. However, fish stocks and aquatic products are not infinite resources. Now more than ever, countries in the Asia-Pacific region must collectively and aggressively address food security issues by advancing the blue economy agenda. APEC is an important platform to achieve this goal. The economies in the region must push for sustainable management and conservation of ocean and coastal resources. Equally important is the management of our ecosystems. They must heighten efforts to combat illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. All these are needed to ensure food security to this generation and for generations to come. Collectively, APEC economies must promote agribusiness development. Agribusiness development opens doors of economic opportunities for small-scale fisher folks, for farmers, for farmer organizations, for cooperatives and other players in the food supply chain. Agribusiness ventures provide them with access to quality inputs, capital, technology, and markets. Aquaculture is another sector that must be developed further for its potential to provide food and livelihood. However, governments must promote responsible aquaculture practices. The Philippines has a vast and varied marine resource and one of the richest in the world. The pursuit of blue economy will certainly help our country attain its development and inclusive growth goals. In the 2015 World Food Security Index, or GFSI, the Philippines ranked 72 out of 109 countries. The index rated the country's condition and efforts related to food security as moderate performance. This is a significant improvement. In the previous years, the Philippines had the highest prevalence of food insecurity among Asia's emerging economies. It is our aim that all Filipinos will have physical and economic access to safe and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs of all the time. Thus, we have been promoting sustainable food supply chains. The Philippine Congress has done its share by enacting laws to ensure food security. The Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act seeks to develop agriculture and the fisheries sector and make it more competitive. The Philippine Fisheries Code provides for the development, management, and conservation of fisheries resources. It also codified all laws on fisheries and aquatic resources. This year, we amended our Fisheries Code through Republic Act 10654 in order to prevent, deter, and eliminate illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, aligning our laws with international convention and standards. No less than the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations cited the measures implemented by the Philippines to promote food security. I am pleased to inform you that tomorrow, the Philippine Senate will approve Senate Bill 2923, which declares large-scale agricultural smuggling as economic sabotage, a crime which carries heavy penalties, including life imprisonment. Once approved by the House of Representatives, this will become law, hopefully by the first quarter of 2016. We have ongoing programs and projects that promote the conservation of fisheries and aquatic resources, and we have provided the appropriate budget for that activity, including the proposed 2016 budget. The Bantay Dagat program provides patrol boats to local governments to strengthen their capability in curbing illegal fishing activities. Fisher folks are provided with hands-on training on various technologies in the culture of fish and other aquatic organisms. The Philippine Development Plan for 2011 and 2016 affirms the significant role played by agriculture and fisheries sector in the attainment of inclusive growth and poverty reduction. The plan envisions to create a, quote, competitive, sustainable, and technology-based agriculture and fisheries sector driven by productive and progressive farmers and fisherfolk, supported by efficient value chains and well integrated in the domestic and international markets, contributing to inclusive growth and poverty reduction. Allow me to focus for a moment on the Western Visayas region, your host region for this ministerial meeting. We noted that last year, agriculture, forestry, and fishing as a sector contributed 22% or almost 22% of the regional gross domestic product. Yet, this sector contracted by an average of 2% per year for the last 3 years. Let me repeat that for emphasis. Agriculture, forestry, and fishing as a sector which accounted for almost 22% of the regional gross domestic product in Western Visayas contracted by an average of 2% per year for the past 3 years. We hope to arrest this alarming negative growth in our regional agricultural sector by 2020, when we put into operation the $11.2 billion pesos, or approximately 250 million US dollars, Halaur River Multipurpose Dam here in Iloilo. We will start construction by February of next year. This dam, the biggest outside of Luzon, will irrigate over 33,000 hectares of rice land here in Iloilo and will provide an additional 200,000 metric tons of palay per year, which will enhance our country's food security. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that much needs to be done to address the threats to food security. This is an auspicious venue to discuss with our counterparts in the region and generate ideas on how to attain our collective goal of food security amidst the colossal changes we are facing today. I am confident that the participation, not just of the bureaucrats, but also of eminent persons, scientists, environmentalists, economists, and creative thinkers in this meeting will yield positive results. Let me therefore wish all of you a productive and meaningful dialogue. A pleasant good morning, and thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We wish to announce the following business arrangements for the high-level policy dialogue on food security and blue economy meeting. Please be informed that only heads of delegation, along with co-chairs, APEC Secretariat, and Senate President Franklin Drilon, are requested now for the family photo session. It will be held at Hall Number 1. While HODs and other key personalities are in photo session, delegates may take their snacks at Hall Number 2. Lunch will be served at the dining area, which is Hall Number 2. The left side of the dining area is reserved for the heads of delegation, where lunch will be served on their table. The right side is reserved for the delegates, where buffet lunch is arranged. There will be cocktails at Hall Number 1 at 6:30 in the evening. Thereafter, dinner will be served at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much.